in 5, 4.
Hello there, and welcome to the Last Arc live YouTube channel. I am your helmsman, Straw Hat Lucas. We have with us today for TLA, my bad, Fritz the Ditz, our beautiful, beautiful, beautiful shipwright. Nexus, the twerking legend. Oh, my bad, the lurking legend. Our amazing chef, and lovely, who I'm going to pass it over to, Cube of the Red Sea, to introduce today's guest. Cube, my man.
What up, guys? Well, welcome to another TLA stream. And I want to welcome a very special guest, CHESTNUT Tanuki, aka the Shonen Queen, aka the TikTok Queen, aka the Real Queen, aka the Short Queen. CHESTNUT, would you plug?
My gosh. Bro, the fact that everybody knows my height now is crazy. Everybody knows I'm just a little midget.
Wait. How tall are you? I don't know this.
I'm 5'2", so I'm like super short. So when I
I'm a
like
short
stand
king,
next
I get it.
Yeah, you know, short
That's
shout
pretty
out to
small
the
in
short
One Piece
kings and
world.
queens.
Yeah.
I would be tiny, bro. I would be like
Imagine Chestnut standing next to Odin. Like
Basically,
oh my God.
I'm imagining Luffy versus the Three Admirals. That's how CHESTNUT sees the world.
she's like holding the
my
log and
God.
everything, just standing up to a regular like 5'11" dude.
Oh my gosh. But thank you guys so much for having me on. Obviously, I love everybody here at the Last Arc. You guys are always amazing. The theories, they be crafting over here. Everybody is just fantastic here. So thank you guys so much for having me on. I love all you guys and I really appreciate this. Because I always have fun. But just for plugs, I'm the CHESTNUT Tanuki. You can call me Tanuki. In fact, I would prefer that because everybody keeps calling me Nut and Miss Nut, and it's crazy. So I need people to start calling me Tanuki to balance it out. But I'm on YouTube, I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram. I tried Facebook, so maybe, but I can't. Everything is under the same thing, the CHESTNUT Tanuki, because having a V in front of your name is cool. So come check me out if you like really bad opinions.
I agree. Having a V in front of your name, like. But...
Oh, I thought you meant agreed with her saying she has bad opinions. I was like, whoa, Vexus coming out the cage with fist.
Bro.
He said,
No, I can't come out
go
swinging
pistol.
like that.
That
No.
Facebook
Yeah.
game though is a little harder than some others. Like, yeah, there's major platforms on there already, but like you post like 5 things in one piece and you'll get attacked by somebody's page for like days.
Oh my God. You telling me, bro. I literally put a
Ridiculous.
theory. I literally just put out a theory and it was just like a little one. I was like, oh, there could be like Zoro during Alabaster could have played like primordial hockey, like basically like origins of hockey because he didn't use like any specific type like in the scene versus like Mr. One. And bro, I got cooked so bad because people were like, but he used hockey. I was like, yeah, but I never said that. Bro, that video got such dummy views, but I was like, oh my God, bro. Like, people are like, who let this woman speak? I'm like, God damn.
It's a rough market
Yeah,
over
man.
there.
It's
The
crazy.
comment section is always wild. You might get the smartest people or sometimes the most interesting takes.
No, you'll get
yeah,
unhinged. You'll get unhinged people talking about other things you never even mentioned and going on rants about it because they actually didn't watch what you're talking about. Like they just don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I posted one of my TikToks to Facebook. One, and it was about Luffy and Boa and him going gear third during things. And everyone in the comments was just like, this isn't funny. This isn't funny. Luffy wouldn't do that. Luffy wouldn't do I was like, all right, cool. Dummy views, like she says, but people on Facebook do not care. And they said the most racist, horrible shit I've ever heard, as always. Oh my
yeah.
goodness, I cursed. I'm sorry.
That-
Vex.
No, you're okay. Yeah, we're trying to be a little bit more chill, you know. But I wanted to real
Never
quick
gonna
shout out
happen.
to some of the goats in the chat. Shout out to JJ from OPU. Shout out to Smokey, Grand Line Bound. Shout out to everybody. Make sure you like the stream. So glad to have everybody here with us. Cube, did you want to get us started on our first discussion topic that we have going on for today?
Yeah, so and like this, CHESTNUT, you're prepared. We're gonna go a bit of some 1093 questions about how is Egghead going, but you might be I might set you on some maths and science questions later on. So get ready for that. So, well, the first question is this: what do you think about Egghead right now, and what did you think of 1093? I think we need to
So,
talk about that.
all right, so let me just kind of start with saying that I think that Egghead is going to be one of my favorite arcs of One Piece, just ever. From the way that the story has been progressing, the pacing I think is fantastic, and I think that a lot of the events that are happening are not only keeping it fresh, so it's not like Wano where we're just stuck in Wano for 100 chapters and we're like, oh my gosh, like the way that we're moving and we're getting all these different things, like Egghead so far to me has been fantastic. I really don't have any complaints, and I think that if it wasn't for Egghead, I would be having like severe One Piece burnout because like with the Wano anime, like I'm just like I want it over. You know what I mean? Like I'm sick of Wano. I want to get on something else. But Egghead has just been so refreshing that I'm just like excited to read it week to week. But specifically with I think 1093, I think that it just sets up so many things with the admirals, with Luffy in general, with kind of like how the world is going. Like I'm excited to see what event changes the world of One Piece. And with the end of the chapter showing Saturn, like I just there's so many things that I like am thinking in my head and they all go in different directions and it's great. So I'm enjoying it heavily. I think Egghead is just like the best writing that Oda has ever done. But it's great.
I completely agree. My the only thing that I haven't thought was like a straight 10 out of 10 was just like the York reveal situation.
yeah.
That was like the only thing that wasn't a straight 10 out of 10. It was still good, but it wasn't like what I was kind of expecting, like as good as I was expecting it to be, I guess. But yeah, I'm so excited about like getting more Kizaru moments and like seeing some characters that we haven't seen in a really long time. I'm really curious to know more about the whole Kuma situation. I can't wait for all of the rest of Egghead to unfold, but I'm really hoping that there's more to the whole York situation because it's the only thing that hasn't been completely knocked out of the park for me,
The trader setup.
I mean, the setup was great.
Yeah, the
payoff was what I felt didn't get all the way there for me. And I mean, it was I was a little bit more critical of it, like I guess when it was more recent, and I've had time to sleep on it. And I mean, it's fine, but it's not like what I would say the rest of Egghead has been.
Yeah, because the rest of Egghead, when we ranked all 32 arcs, it was in my top 5. I think it was my number 4 or 5. Because I mean I'm loving it, but you're right. The rest of the Egghead is so exceptional. To have that like kind of, I wouldn't say mediocre because it's not mediocre by any means, but like to have that tame of a twist.
I would say that for me, it's probably top 3. I think that it's very, very, very possible it will be top 1 though. I'm hoping.
Well,
I'm hoping. I'm really hoping.
Well, Lucas, you remember our tier list? I put it number 1. Yeah, I said it to this point.
Yeah.
Egghead is the first arc where you actually get genuine answers.
Yep.
If you think about it, like not taking 2-3 arcs together is actually, well, obviously a lot of the Vegapunk stuff is still a bit weird, talking like a philosopher, but that's okay. But the rest of the arc, I think it's pretty decent, and you're kind of getting a bit of a better it kind of makes me think of the end of Enies Lobby, actually. How you kind of see how the world government worked, especially the side of Cypher Pole. I kind of feel like the rest of the world were kind of, especially what they were saying about the Holy Knights and the Celestial Dragon stuff.
Spicy things are afoot in Egghead. CHESTNUT, who do you think is going to win in the fight, Kizaru or Luffy?
I feel like me, and I don't know if you guys know who Mosh is, but he's like a humongous Kizaru fan on TikTok. I think Kizaru wins, and here's why. So I've been slandered for my take, but here's my big thing, right? After the Yonko saga, like with Wano, I think it was very clear that there was this narrative shift from it's like the villains basically of like One Piece. It used to be like the warlords. It shifted more to the pirates, right? But then after Wano, it shifted again to the Marines, and now we're starting to face off with that Marine infrastructure. And I think that especially when we're starting to look at like the power scaling, like it just makes sense that like Kizaru, Akainu, like even to an extent Green Bull, Fujitora, like these people need to have some sort of strength so that they're still like push and pull with the Straw Hats. Now, I don't think that like Kizaru beats Luffy and like he's down, but I think that Luffy gets out of Gear 5 and he's like, oh, like Kizaru is something else. And I think that they have to run away from him. Because I think that a very extreme high diff Kaido like fight with Kizaru, Luffy could win. but it's going to be like a Kaido level fight. And I feel like people don't like to kind of put like, I think that Kaido's stronger than Kizaru. I feel like I have to say this before somebody starts to roast me, but they're relative. And I think especially when we're talking about the relativity of like the tops in the verse, like it could go either way for everything. And I think that when we start looking at like people like Luffy and Zoro and Sanji and Jinbei to an extent, like yes, they're very strong, but they're not up there yet. Like they're not up there where they can be boxing with Whitebeard. They're not up there where they could have been boxing with Roger. You know what I mean? Like Prime. And it's like that's what it eventually needs to get to, because we're being set up to these Gorosei and then eventually Emu, which and Blackbeard, which to an extent, like these two threats that we're getting, where it's like Emu and Blackbeard, like they're gonna be insane. There's gonna be a lot of these hacks. So for right now, I think that we really need to see that development. So I see Kizaru coming out on top. I see only wins for the world government here.
Wins and wins and wins for the world government.
Yeah, I completely agree with the Kizaru take. I think that specifically, the only reason he hasn't won already is because I think Oda's leaving it ambiguous for like maybe an ulterior motive or something like that. Obviously with Sentomaru he didn't want to, and with Bonnie he didn't want to go lethal. I think there's a reason for that with Luffy as well that hasn't been made like obvious to it, so obvious to us yet. But I know that Cube and Lucas here are big fans of theory that Kizaru is going to be a traitor, a turncoat.
Yeah. I'm counting on it, my man. I'm counting that Kizaru is going to betray the world government to either save Sentomaru or Vegapunk. One of the two. Maybe when he sees how actually powerful Saturn is on Egghead or something, but it's coming. It's coming, my man.
Yeah, for my whole headcanon. I believe Kizaru, the reason why he joined the Marines, will connect around the same time as Mads and Vegapunk, and it's this thing where he was there for science, and he's not there for justice, and now it's come to the point where science and justice are parting ways. So that's why I could see it possibly. And I was gonna say something about I do agree on Kizaru taking Luffy, because the more we're going to Egghead, the more it feels like this entire island has so much light that I feel like the light man would benefit, as we've seen like certain Devil Fruit benefit from a certain environment. So I do feel like Kizaru has an honored, like I'll say this, even some of the last attack, I'm wondering if because he was inside Egghead, it was easier to create those clones.
I think there's an argument that he might have like maybe like he does get a slight buff, but like he also has a little bit more vulnerability on this island, seeing as they have those photonic gloves here.
True.
Like they don't have those anywhere else, right? Like so.
Right.
I
I could see Frankie stepping up with those photonic gloves.
I need Usopp.
I could see
Yeah,
that.
you think
too.
Usopp? Yeah, Usopp. I can see
Usopp,
Usopp for
yeah.
sure. Yeah, he's crafty. What were you gonna say, Chestnut? Sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say I think it's interesting to see world government turncoats. Like I think that a lot of those theories are really interesting. It's because so I always kind of, and this might be just me looking too much into it, but I kind of always harken back the fall of the world government in One Piece to the fall of ancient Rome, where it's like barbarians are knocking at the gate and they're coming from all these different directions, but it's like the real thing that really caused the fall of like the Roman Empire, and there's been like so much Greco-Roman influence in One Piece, was just corruption one within, and there's so much corruption. And I think it'd be very interesting to see, like, especially like I have to go kill my friends. Like Kizaru has says multiple times, like, I really don't want to do this, but I have to because it's my job. And it's something that's very interesting. So when you start really looking at like the themes that Oda is setting up, and you're like, okay, we have all of these themes of the ancient weapons, right? We have all of these themes of corruption within this world government. And it's like, and now you see like the barbarians are the pirates literally knocking at the door, trying to be like, open up, like something is gonna give. And I think something will give. But I think that this is where you're going to see themes of freedom versus like complete control takeover. So I think like Kizaru leaving would be interesting, because I see Blackbeard at some point joining forces with the world government in order to take control of stuff. Because the world government represents darkness, right? What is Kizaru? Kizaru is the opposite, and it's so you start to see like a lot of these themes start going. So I see Blackbeard completely for his own motives going in and abusing the corruption that's happening in the world government, which is why he wants to go to the Reverie, which is why he wants his country to be there, because he's going to abuse the system of the world government. But I don't think that somebody like Kizaru is going to stand for that, especially with the little bits and pieces. I can see him joining some sort of like, and I always said like Sword is the revolutionary front of the world government. They're the ones that actually want to have the world government stand for what it stands for. I could see him joining Sword. I could see Sword breaking off from the world government at some point, and kind of especially, and I think that the big thing that happens is that Sword members break off from the world government. And I think that that's something that we'll see very soon. So I can see Kizaru doing that. So I think it's very interesting.
Okay, but I got to ask you to elaborate a little bit more on that Blackbeard and joining the world government take, because that is awesome. Like right after you said that, it clicked in my head, and I was like, oh, and then Emu's also like represented as darkness as well. So like his fruit and her potential fruit, like we don't know what that is, but them joining forces would be insane.
So I've been like theory crafting a little bit. I haven't dropped a video yet, so I guess I'll give you guys a little sneak peek here, but I've been thinking for a while, why would Blackbeard want to go to the Reverie? And it's so weird because it seems like it goes against everything Blackbeard has wanted to do, right? Like Blackbeard has always wanted to be a pirate. He had an in with the world government and then immediately got rid of it. So it's like it has to be self-serving. So thinking of a couple things, the first thing that I thought for when the chapter dropped was, oh, Mary Joie. Obviously he wants to go to Mary Joie to get the treasure underneath it because that's something that was stated. But as I'm thinking about it, it's like, is there something alternative that we're not seeing? And it's like, what if Blackbeard wants to join the world government to become a fleet admiral? Because he wants to have that power. He wants to quite literally rule over everything, basically saying like, I don't care that the celestial dragons do this. Like, I would help you. Like, I want my own freedom to triumph over everybody else's freedom. And so having Blackbeard basically become a force in the world government where it's like the world government has no meaning anymore. People who are working, it's like only corruption. And you see this with the infiltration of somebody who is genuinely just evil and self-serving, join the world government and quite possibly take over like Akainu's position or like be one of Akainu's bosses. And I think the reason he does this and the reason that this was always his plan, because that's why he needed the darkness fruit, because I think the darkness fruit works perfectly with what Emu has. Whatever devil fruit Emu has, whatever Emu's plan is, especially when we're thinking about the weapon that we use that we think is Uranus, I think that Blackbeard's devil fruit works in tandem with it. And so he always knew, and I think that there was, because remember, we're hearing about like Verona, and like this is or Nerona, right? And we were hearing about it. I'm like, I wonder if there was a book that explained what happened during the Void Century. And during the Void Century, the reason it's a Void Century is because Blackbeard's devil fruit is what caused it. And that's what the awakening of the devil fruit is. And that's why he needed that devil fruit so he could work with Emu.
Ooh, I like that a lot. Because I think Emu, Fritz is like blown away right now. I think that Emu's devil fruit's a little null. Like a null fruit, like it's nothing basically, so it can take the powers of other devil fruits. It's just in a more advanced version of Blackbeard's darkness fruit. You were going to say something, Vex? I'm sorry.
Oh, I was laughing at the chat a little bit, but no, I like that. I like the theory a lot because I mean, we already know he's willing to get in bed with the world government because he was, going for a warlord seat at the beginning, anyways. So, that's. I really like the theory. That's solid. I can't wait to hear more on that.
Yeah.
And shout out to Hime in the chat. What's good?
What's up, Hime?
Hime!
But it makes sense that Blackbeard wouldn't make a dark pact with anybody unless he was the one that wins in the end, no matter what. So
yeah.
And I think that let me just say something real quick. I was like, I think at the very end, like Blackbeard knows that because I think that null fruit is very interesting, because the way that I had this theory working out is that Emu was set up to be this big bad villain, but at the very end, Blackbeard, very similarly to like in Full Metal Alchemist, where you can like take stuff in, eventually just absorbs what power it is. So it's this weird thing where it's like, I even see like Blackbeard at some point like kind of tricking Luffy because of his good spirit to be like, oh, we got to take out this Emu, and at the very end being like, just kidding, and then taking over that, and then Blackbeard sits on the empty throne, and it's like I not only and then there's the race to Laugh Tale, basically, where it's like there has to be something to defeat this thing on Laugh Tale because it had to have like crippled Emu centuries ago. So that's how I see the series ending.
Wow.
I really like.
Go ahead.
I really like that because ever since I did my second reread of Egghead, I'm pretty sure that the fact that Wapol reappeared in the chapter of Emu the fact that Wapol is no more king of the Reverie, but Blackbeard wants to be one, and he started the story by kicking out Wapol from his own castle, and the Drum Island Castle is identical to the Pangaea Castle. I do think that I like it because I do think there is something about the castles, and my headcanon is I think he thought it was Drum Island initially, and then he found out that he mistaken on the castle. So that's why I do like it, because I do feel like he was gunning on that castle for the beginning.
Interesting. That would be really cool. Like it was kind of like a dupe. I like that. I know that you had your Drum Island. There was a Drum Island video, on the original TLA YouTube.
Yeah.
Plug. Somebody put the link at the chat.
Today, you got this.
Plug the theory. Plug the theory.
Also wanted to
sorry.
shout out to Ghost Train real quick, who was saying something along the lines of like if the Yami Yami was like a remanifestation of Emu, I guess like if that was like a mythical Zoan and Emu was like the original, like.
Ooh, I like that.
So that's how the powers could be kind of like tied together.
I like that.
Not to get us further off track, but Cube, what you were just saying about Pangaea Castle and the Drum Kingdom Castle, like, it would make so much sense, because especially if Blackbeard was going to Pangaea to get whatever lies underneath Mary Joie, and he thought that was the castle originally, like maybe he only knows that it's a castle, and he's like, well, there's only 2 castles, and I'm heading to the Red Line anyway, so might as well stop at this castle first and see if it's under there. And then when it wasn't, he was just like, get out of here, Wapol.
There's so much
And,
underneath that castle, like just literally everything.
yeah.
It was so high up there.
Yeah, and what's interesting is, you know what Dalton said when they asked him and he explained it, but weirdly enough, they took nothing. They came and they left.
Yeah. Which
interesting.
is pretty
Yeah.
weird when you think about
Yeah.
it. Like Blackbeard always has an agenda. He always has a motive. Unless there's something. So there's always a thing. Remember when in Dressrosa, when Doflamingo's like, I need your power to get under to get the treasure in Mary Joie, right? And it's something that was just kind of dropped and left. But it kind of stands to reason, maybe there was something left in the castle on Drum Island, right? Like maybe there was something left that Blackbeard did actually take something. He went there and grabbed something because that's where the other piece was. But without it, you need the Ope Ope no Mi. And because Doflamingo was like, well, I can't get this piece, he was thinking about Lost Fruit as a workaround, which is also something that we can kind of theorize about. But yeah.
I think that it was, I could be wrong, but I think it was stated I don't remember. I thought he went there because he thought that no, I'm completely misremembering it, but it would be totally interesting if he went there because he knew that the monarchy was like in like a little bit of a situation. I thought that if it wasn't a situation where he was going for like I guess like a MacGuffin or something, it was like kind of like his East Blue where he was still picking up crew members, and that might be where he picked up Doc Q.
Ooh.
Because we don't know where Doc Q's from, do we?
No, but it would make sense that it's from like the land of doctors, right?
The viewer card says North Blue, but you could be yeah. But you never know. He could have been in the. It's like he could have been. It's like how what's it called? It's how Ace met Luffy at Alabasta, even though they're from these Blue. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Could be that he
and
was on
like
this
Law's from the North Blue, but we met him in Sabaody, so like
yeah. Because the one thing I like about Blackbeard, I'm pretty sure of it, is whatever his information is, he doesn't have names, but he has description. The way he looked at the pacifistas, he did not say Lunarian. He described like from a book. You know what I mean? Like he just learned, and he says he learned every description in the Delford book. So I do think that it could be that his information is like maybe he didn't have the subject or the title of it. The person was describing like a journal. That's always I started to feel with Blackbeard, but So
now that sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, go. No, go ahead. I was going to say
I was
another
just going to
question.
add, like, well, now that Vex has said his thing about like Drum Island's kingdom situation when Blackbeard was there, he may have seen it as possibly a good kingdom to start his kingdom, since we know that is his goal, but then was like, no, this country's kind of a piece of crap. I don't it's snowy. I don't like it anymore.
The only thing to eat around here is rabbit.
Yeah. And you have to fight them for 2 hours before they die. Like, oh,
Oh my god, bro.
Gosh.
Lucas.
I know. We were like, gotta stay unalive right before the stream, and
Right.
me both times.
Would you stop it?
Yes.
So, Chestnut, what do you think will be the role? Where do you think Kuma is going to go, and what do you think is going to be his role if he's going to be in Egghead?
So I'm gonna be honest. I've been kind of at a little bit of a loss with Kuma and kind of what his plan is, because like obviously we get that, like, like the ancient robot is like kind of awakened, and I've always had that theory that like the reason that Kuma is going to Mary Joie is the same reason why the robot awakened, is because Vegapunk was actually building all of these like Mach 3s and like all of these pacifistas, right, are all built with the same technology as the ancient robot, because he's been working with it, and all of them will eventually respond to Joy Boy. So for now, he has all of these control chips basically, and they've been doing a really big thing where it was like, here's the hierarchy, this is what the hierarchy is, and then we see this go, and I'm like, I feel like especially it was foreshadowed with the Seraphim for Boa, S Snake, where all of a sudden she listened to Luffy, and it's like, is it really Luffy giving like her personality to do it? Because technically that shouldn't matter, right? She should still just listen to commands. But she didn't. She specifically listened to who? To Luffy. Now you could say that that's, oh well, Oda is just saying that the personality is there, but it's like, why did the personality like come back and show back up? Right? Like, clearly it's because Luffy did something, and I think that Luffy has the ability to give freedom to the robots, and basically have them go. And I think that Kuma's entire goal was to show us like, this is what's happening. This is what Vegapunk has been doing, and it's been a hint to what's going on later. I also think that whatever we see with the Bonnie backstory is going to just kind of basically confirm what I'm saying. But for just like the overall, like, this is what's going on, this is like what Kuma's role actually is, I think it is just for Kuma to have this like incredibly salient and sad end, where it's like Kuma was such a tragic character who tried to help in so many ways, and like when he ends there, it's like, it's a little hint to what's to come, it's a little hint to what's Vegapunk's been working on, but that's really all I see for his character.
Actually, I'm sorry, Lucas, because you made me think of something. What if it's something to do about his heart, like the drums of liberation or something? Because if I'm not mistaken, the first time he tried to do Seraphims, he just went Gear 4. Like, what if the technology, like, let's say Joy Boy's supposed to return, and you create all of those things. What if the failsafe is you drop all other commands if you hear like those type of heartbeats? You know what I mean? Like Order 66, literally Order 66. One Piece version.
Like here's that chain of command, but it's like as soon, and we kind of saw it with the robot, where it's like, and I think that's why there's also a little another hint to that, where like Vegapunk goes, the warrior in white, and he knows exactly who Joy Boy is, and he knows exactly what it is, and it's like, why does he know exactly what it is? Why does he have so much information on this? And it's like all of these like really advanced technology that seems to be coming from the Void Century. Like all of a sudden we see the robot awaken. We get this little hint that like not the Bonnie Seraphim, the Boa Seraphim like is listening to Luffy. It's like everything I think is going like that. And I think that when Luffy used his awakening, right? I think that Kuma, because he was one of the first things and he was out in the open, like I think the robot is underground, which is why Luffy had to break into the actual thing using Gear 5, because the robot is like really secure, safe underground, so he just didn't hear it. But I think that like the drums of liberation echo around the world, right? I think that Kuma heard it, and when he heard it, it did the exact same thing, and that's why he went. So yeah, I agree. I think
I would even go further. What if it's because of, it's weird, but Luffy's mental state? When he's fighting the Seraphims and Rob Lucci, he didn't care about backup. But right now with Kizaru, it could be like he's actually feeling like, like his life could be in a threat. Like in the other one, he didn't fear anything. Like maybe he has like, how Conquer Hockey, they always say you to act without a doubt, what if there's like a middle ground between acting with a doubt and with a doubt and without a doubt? And that could also explain it, because the more you explain that is it could be a thing that Luffy would need backup. You know what I mean? So maybe they sense not that he's scared, but it's maybe the time for me to wake up. In a way, I don't know what you're telling me.
Aggression.
Like I don't know. Yeah.
I can see
fighting
that.
spirit.
Like even though Luffy isn't like saying it, like deep down he's actually very concerned about Kizaru. I mean, he did just see Kizaru just absolutely smack Bonnie all the way across the island, like no holds bar.
Bro, that was sick. I was like honestly so concerned for Bonnie before getting the latest chapter. Shout out to Ragnar in the chat, Lord Vegeta himself. But no, I was honestly so concerned for Bonnie whenever we got kind of like left there for without knowing what was up, and I'm honestly amazed that that she is as okay as she is right now. That was like one of the big takeaways for me from that whole situation. I was like, geez, what is this woman made of? Like this is crazy. Like she's insane.
What if it's for Kuma? What if it's as simple as just being like another final promise? Like he was only going to act in such a way for so long, before and after they returned to the ship, but also in this situation where things have aligned and he's now on a free will moment again. It's not whether he was been awakened, but this was a predetermined situation.
He's trying to get to Bonnie. Maybe he wants his last moments to be with his daughter, and he knows his body's gonna quit out soon. So like Prime Directive took over, and he's like, "I'm gonna go be with my daughter." Oh wow, that got really sad. I'm sorry, guys.
No, I mean I like that, but I think that it's a little bit more than that. I think that it could specifically be something involving, like, I don't know, because we do know that there's a connection between Shaka and probably Stella and Dragon, but definitely Shaka and Dragon, and so like there is definitely an argument that something within Kuma's hardwiring is involved with Luffy specifically.
Oh yeah,
definitely. Or the Stella. So there's definitely the Bonnie tie, and I was under the impression that Bonnie touching the memory bubble was like the main trigger. But there could be any number of other people here that this could be tied to. And I was bringing it up in a previous stream. I was thinking that the current Stella body is not actually a body, but just a hologram, like a solid light, like we saw that was able to interact with Luffy before and things like that. And that his actual body is probably somewhere up in Punk Records. And if he would need Kuma or S-Bear to specifically like how he can pull metaphysical concepts out of like people and things like that. If he could possibly like do like that's how like they discovered like physical light and things like that. I don't know, like that would be something that I was thinking of. Is it maybe like that he needs to like if we do see like the Stella body get attacked, I'm thinking that it's not an actual death of Dr. Vegapunk, you know what I mean?
So you think he's basically one of his holograms?
Yeah, and then Kuma might be necessary for him to like get out of like
move away from Egghead.
That's what I'm thinking.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I like that a lot, actually. A lot. Since we're talking about possible future events, Chestnut, who do you think the man marked by flame is?
Ooh, that's a really interesting question. I feel like so many people have like different theories of like pre-existing characters that are in there. I have a little bit of a different take where I think that the man marked by flames isn't anybody that we've met before, but they do have a connection to Emu. I think that Emu is going to be like another tribe. I think it's going to be like another race in One Piece. I think that there's been a lot of things with like different races in One Piece. So I think it's going to be that. I don't think that Emu is human. I think my personal theory is that Emu is like some sort of like Birkin, and I think that the man marked by flames is also going to be, but I think it's going to be specifically like a tribe of Birkins that grew up like mainly on Earth, in like a very specific island, and that island was Norona. So they weren't from the sky. They actually were like a tribe on the Earth, and so I think that there's going to be a lot of stuff with that. Just because there's always been this really weird thing where like the Bible has like Birkin wings and like the Bible has like a woman on it, and it's like it's a little weird that we have like this religious symbolism. They refer to Emu as God. Literally, the Bible has a woman with Birkin wings. It's like it's a little suspicious.
Yeah, a little suspicious. I like
and
that.
it's
I like that a lot.
So I think it's gonna be a reintroduction to the Birkins. I think that Skypiea was again Skypiea foreshadowing a lot, but I think it's going to be a very interesting meeting. So that's my personal opinion on it.
CHESTNUT thinks that the man marked by flames is the guy with the eye patch that Oda mentioned will show up at the end confirmed.
He could be.
Yeah. Cube, you want to ask the next question, my man?
Of course. So,
Brains.
You know what? Yeah, this question I think is a very interesting one. Do you think one of the Gorseys is going to betray the other? And if so, which one?
So I feel like there's a lot of theories on the Gorsei, right? Like I think that the one of them was what is it, like Jupiter betraying because he's the youngest one or looks like the youngest. Another one
Later.
Yeah, Jupiter.
Sorry, Jupiter.
Jupiter.
Yeah.
Another one is like that Saturn betrays, and that's why he gets killed. I don't see so my big thing is I don't see anybody betraying any of these Gorosei betraying Emu now. Especially because at this point in the story, I feel like there isn't enough evidence to say that like one of them don't like really do it. The only one that I could possibly see is maybe even Jupiter, but I think it's just because he's so young and he hasn't done it. Now, I do want to shout out my boy Zaki because he had a really interesting theory that one of the Gorosei was killed on God Valley, right? And Jupiter like replaced him, and that's why he doesn't know anything. It's because he hasn't been a Gorosei like as long as the others, and so he's like right now still trying to catch up on certain things. Like every time he's like, "What? Like what's this?" And everybody else has to correct him. But I think that a lot of these guys, like at this point in their lives, they're so old. There's no reason for them to actually go against the system, even if they have it. So I don't see it in them right now. But once we start getting more story elements, maybe I could see it go in a different way.
I've still said this. He might be a red herring, but Baron Ethan, the one that looked like from Wano, does now wear the suit, keeps his old attire, doesn't have a gun, has a sword, but has the most European, or at least the most conform name in the world of One Piece among the Gorosei. He's so weird, and he's always the most violent one in his reactions. But I do feel like maybe it could be a red herring, but he's always been like the most sus among them.
It's like Among Us. Who is the traitor?
Yeah, it's literally that. But yeah, with this one, I don't know. There's something about him, but then again, I'm starting to think it's a red herring. But Oda's like pushing this guy to see that he's like the black sheep of the Gorosei. Never isn't walking to Emu. He walks purposely behind the other Gorosei. He doesn't walk forward when they go to see Emu the first time. He does bow, but he doesn't walk forward. And he was the one who gave the order to kill Clover instantly the moment he was starting talking. It's very weird with this guy. But yeah,
it could be like he's trying to cover up certain things by like, oh, Clover might talk and might like do my cover. Like, unfortunately, Clover has to go now. Something like that. I could see that. Where it's like the most aggressive person is like, it's just all a cover. I like that.
Yeah, and it's just weird when you think of how they describe Dr. Hiluk saying about someone name, knowing who you are. And then the guy keeps everything that seems about his whole life, but his name does not fit, And he has that Wano last name, knows Juro. But yet his name is Baron Ethan. Which is, very odd.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree.
Yeah. You're gonna say, Lucas?
I'm trying to remember his name. It's the one that looks like Gorbachev. Like I said, I think he is probably most likely the traitor. It's just his design. Something about it screams like, because he's always sitting. He's always the one that like leads the charge when they're talking to Emu and shit, stuff like that.
Is that Workery?
Workery, thank you. Yeah, I think Workery's it. I mean, the man is obviously power hungry. Look at that face. You can't tell me he is not power hungry. Little chubby cheeks.
Is the one. And he is the one who told Shanks just because it's you.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm not mistaken.
He is. He's the one that talks like 9 times out of 10 in their panels. Like when it's all of them together, he's like, "Yeah, it's me. I'm him." Humbled. Goodness.
Yeah, I like that. Well,
Got
I put my
Littlefinger
head canon. I
vibes.
think with that, what is it? He's also Top Man, right? His
Yeah,
nickname is
Top
also
Man
Top Man.
Workery. Yeah, Top
Yeah,
Man
yeah.
Workery.
You
So he's
you all
probably
know
like the number one.
he could be a trader if he wants to. The only thing about him is I want him to be like behind the creation of Cypherpole or something because they all have top hats. His name is Top Man. Oda has to use that.
Yeah. It'd be a wasted opportunity if he didn't tie the two together.
Yeah.
So,
I think
Chestnut, we have some chill questions for you provided by our wonderful captain, Din Din Cushy.
Yeah.
If you could have any One Piece mystery or lore reveal, or like / solved, what would it be?
Oh, this is easy. This is so easy. God Valley, bro. Like
Yeah.
it is once God Valley graces the pages of the manga, it's over for every other story. Like God Valley not only is going to have the most like narrative significance within the story, it's not only going to have the best power, like scaling the best fights in the story, but it's going to reveal to us like the true disgusting nature of the world government. And I think what I'm really excited to see is what happened to the Rocks pirates and how did they erase them from history? Because nobody talks about them. Nobody knows about it. Like even like Marines are like, I don't know about it. And so it's like, how did this happen? And I think that that's going to be like one of the like when God Valley is shown and we're like, that's what happened. Like that's what happened to with the Figureland family. That's what happened with Rocks. That's what happened with Roger. Like that's why Garp doesn't talk about it. All of these things are gonna get answered, and the story of One Piece is just gonna like just work out. You're gonna be like, this is what happened. This is a parallel to what happened in the Void Century. Like this is why nobody does this. This is why Roger gave up his life. Like once we get that semblance of what happened on that fateful day, it'll change the entire scope of One Piece. So
Mask
honestly,
off
like
God Valley.
oh, God Valley is going to be
That's
amazing.
Good.
Yeah.
So, do you think, like, how do you think Rocks got his crew? Because I always want to ask people this question because I personally, like, how are you going to recruit Big Mom? How are you going to recruit Kaido? How are you going to recruit Whitebeard? Well, obviously we saw that Whitebeard recruited Kaido, but like, how are you going to recruit Captain John? Like, how are you going to get all these big names? And I always try to push the point that it was a Davy back fight, but I would love to hear how you think the Rocks crew got together.
So, as somebody who absolutely despises the Foxy arc and everything to do with Davy back fights. So here's my thing. I feel like Davy back fights in Foxy arc. Bro, I can't even stop myself. I hate Long Ring, bro. But I think that the way that they're portrayed, like especially in that arc, is just not how I would have done it. It's not how I would have introduced it. And I think that they tried to play it off like comedy, but in all actuality, I think that a Davy back fight is just basically what happened when Whitebeard and Ace fought. And Ace like just completely lost, and it's like, all right, now you're on my crew. And I think that that's basically what Rox did. Rox was like, I'm trying to create a strong crew. Like, you're going to have to fight to survive. And these monsters were like, okay, you think you can control me? And I think that like Rox has to be the strongest person. Because a lot of these wills, like on the crew, because think about it, every person on this crew had Conquer's Haki. Like every person on this crew is a confirmed conquer. So to be somebody who can conquer all of those conquer wills, you need to have just such insane willpower that it doesn't even matter. So like when I'm thinking about it, I'm like, it must have been like he must have just destroyed their will and spirit so that they would never stand up to him. Like the first interaction with Rox must have been like, oh, you actually survived that. Like now you're on my crew, and just hop on. I think we're gonna see that.
The easy way or the hard way? The choice is yours.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that. It's like if Rox's crew were kind of like the opposite of Whitebeard's crew, where like Whitebeard tried to make it like a family, kind of where he has sons and things like that, and there's absolutely no betrayal. Like that's the biggest taboo that he really, really, really blew up about, that as far as that we know of. I feel like on Rox's crew, they were really disjointed, and they said that there were too many captains or too many conquerors, I think is what they said. So it was like everyone trying to betray each other constantly, but no one would really cross Rocks because that dude was probably, yeah, like you said, the strongest.
What if Rox is like shortest canon character ever when we actually get to see him finally? Like he's just like a short king. He's like 4'11"
Little
at
big
most.
man problems all
Yeah,
over
little
the place.
big man. Because I know he loves his French piece theories, so it could be like a Napoleon style character. But then, like, you get into his presence and and you get into his presence and his Conqueror's hockey is just so insane that yours is negated entirely. That would be the best.
I could see that happening, especially because like Luffy isn't even that tall anyways. I think that that Rox is like very similar to Luffy, but like very similar to how like a lot of Luffy's villains like kind of like their parallels or their foils or their like direct like antagonists. Like I think that like when we see Rox for the first time, it's gonna be like that looks like Luffy, and we're gonna listen to him speak, and it's gonna be like it's a Luffy, but if Luffy was like I need to accomplish my dream no matter what. So I need to just get people and use them. Whereas Luffy is somebody who wants to bolster his friends. Like Rox is going to have like the same dreams as ambitions, and it's going to be like, I've tried this in the past and I failed. Like I need a crew that is going to like do that. So I could see him being like super short like Luffy. Because like honestly, like Luffy, I think Luffy's like 5'11", I guess. I think he's 5'8". But I mean, I don't know about like 4'11". I feel like that'd be crazy in the One Piece world. Like I feel like
he comes up to Whitebeard's knee. Like
yeah, that's Gaimon height.
Shrunken Luffy, all right.
So
Chibi
for me, the thing I have with the Rocks Pirates, because I see what you guys are saying, is just the way Sengoku described it. I don't believe it. It kind of makes me think of Arlong that we met in Arlong Pirates, but then we saw Arlong with the Sun Pirates. You know what I mean? The way that there was a difference, and I do feel like something happened in God Valley. I'm not saying that I think the Rocks were great people, but I think there were a reason why they were there. There were a reason why they were all together. Because Kaido, Big Mom, and Whitebeard was all about kids or family, and that's like it's weird. You know what I mean? Like to get Big Mom, I can see it, but how can you get Whitebeard to be part in the same crew with those people? You know what I mean? Like it feels like Luffy arriving in Marineford with Crocodile, Ivankov, all of them. They had to happen to be all in one place with a common thing that they don't have the same goal, but they have a common place and a common enemy in some sort. I just feel like the Rocks was something like that. They didn't have like it's Kid and Luffy and Law and Wano, and that's why I think also why they failed is because they weren't a team. They were just allies with one another. Which I would still say today. If you have all those powerful conquerors in one go, is it easier to say that it's an alliance or is it just one crew? You belittle them by saying they're underneath Rocks. Like I think they were all like I think Rocks was the strongest among them all. That's why he was named as the leader. But I think you could compare it as in Wano, Kid, Law, and Luffy were the same rank. But in the newspaper in Dressrosa, they made it seem that Law was Luffy's underling. You know what I mean? They keep changing. So I feel the more and more again when we met Jinbei, when we met Arlong, he was not Jinbei's subordinate. But what did they say in the East Blue? He's a subordinate of Jinbei or something like that. You know, in the newspaper, they keep belittling people. So that's why I feel like the Rocks, they might not be the great characters that the way some people might feel I'm saying, but I think they're not those horrible, evil characters that Goku described. You know, like he said they didn't like each other, they try to kill each other on the boat constantly. Like I feel like, especially when we see Kaido, he became a drunk. You know, literally, it's the opposite. I feel like he misses those days.
Do you think that it was more of a family? It wasn't they were at each other's throats all the time. It was more like the Straw Hats, like they were a family. Yeah, because Big Mom was disappointed when the crew fell apart as well. And then you see how Whitebeard treated his crew. And I do agree with Vex. It could be that like it's the opposite of the Straw Hats, and like that's why Whitebeard does what he does. But it could also, like you're saying, it could be that Rocks treated Whitebeard like a son. And so Whitebeard saw that trait as admiral, and since he always wanted a family, that's how he treated his future crew.
I also see a bit like Vex, because I think that's where I'm also going. That's a difference. I think they were not really a real crew, and that's why, contrary to Luffy, they're like family. Like they always
look at it.
You have to look at it like to Blackbeard and his crew.
Yeah, so you see the 10 Titanic, captains or commanders or whatever, and then like you also saw in Marineford how what was it 50 allied captains pulled up for Whitebeard. I feel like that was all their own choice. They all did that not because they were like subservient, but because they wanted to be there to support him.
Yes.
With the Rocks Pirates, I felt like it would have been like they were all forced to like you're going to fight for me or you're going to die kind of situation. Like where I don't think it was familial. And I think that might be like maybe some of the trauma, like obviously, and the fact that he already was lacking of a family. But the reason why Whitebeard wanted to make the Whitebeard Pirates the way that he did so passionately is because of a powerful figure in his past like that. Like, and who else would be that powerful, to Whitebeard?
Right. Dude, that's what I'm saying. Whitebeard was the strongest man in the world. He had the Gurr on his side, too. Like, there's nothing to scoff at. It's someone who can, I don't want to say tame, but like that's probably the best word to use to tame Whitebeard enough to like, hey, please don't kill me or crack me into a million pieces with your quake fruit. But that's Rox has got to be strong and short AF.
I mean, I don't know, Lucas.
Oh my god.
I don't know, Lucas. Garp isn't that small. I'm just kidding.
Shout out to Dak in the chat. Dak Sake, the man, the myth, the legend himself.
Dak Sake himself. What's up, bro?
Dude, if you want to see Dak Sake and myself and Din Cushy all on stream together, make sure you stop by the channel next Saturday for that. We will be cooking about Chestnut's least favorite arc, Long Ring, Long Land.
Let's go.
Oh, it's. I feel so bad for Dak because we're like such good friends, and then every time he's like, "Oh my god, no more Foxy slander," and I'm like, "Foxy slander all day, every day."
Listen, I have a huge Long Ring, Long Land theory. I'm not going to do it here because I'm saving it for the stream next week. But I agree with the Foxy slander, but that arc has some very, very spicy things about it.
Foxy slander.
I've rewatched through it.
Let's go.
Oh my goodness, calm down. I've rewatched through Long Ring, Long Land like 3 times this year alone because in my One Piece D&D thing, I threw my own Davy back fight and like also I just kind of like it. I do enjoy it. I don't put it in S tier though. Like I've seen my man Dak do live on stream over on his channel, so this should be an interesting stream. Definitely come by next Saturday for some spice there.
Bro, I'm gonna have to come by, and every time Dak says something, I'm just gonna be like, L. L plus ratio.
L's in chat, y'all.
L's in chat. Give me some LRLLs in chat, guys. Long Ring, Long Land, let's go. Yeah, I used to also not enjoy it at all, and then I reread it literally like a month ago, or even a few weeks ago, and it was like, okay, wait, and then I reread it again, and I was like, okay, no.
I love the comments. Like,
into liking it.
There is some really interesting comedy bits, like whenever we've known Shelly for like 15 minutes, and then it starts to give us the tragic backstory music. Like whenever it's like I absolutely love it because I'm like, you would think it's filler, and that's absolutely a canon episode, and I'm just like over here like cracking up because we've known this horse. There's this horse for like 5 minutes, maybe 15 minutes total, but like 5 minutes of screen time, and now we're getting like the little piano music, like the
Mother C starts playing.
Yeah, Mother C starts playing, and like and this it's like got the faded borders, like the foggy borders, and it's like showing us like the tragic backstory, and it's. I thought that was like honestly hilarious and also really good because I ride with that horse like that I like that horse a lot.
I mean that horse.
That horse is amazing.
Goodness. Okay, so if Long Ring, Long Land's your least favorite arc, what's your favorite arc in One Piece, Tanuki?
Easily Enies Lobby. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think that there's an arc that has captivated me as much as Enies Lobby, and I think it's because the build-up. Like there was just so much build-up to that arc where it's like you have ever since like Alabasta, we've kind of been having Robin like, oh, like I wanted to die. But I guess I'll just, come along with you. And we see that she has all these dreams and like ambitions, and we see her throughout Skypiea, and then we get to this like admiral like setup, and you're like, oh, like we would like they were powerless. And then all throughout like Water 7, there's like some of the best emotional moments, but we get to this pinnacle of Enies Lobby and everything is delivered on. The pacing was phenomenal. The emotional scenes were perfectly executed. It had one of the best antagonists in One Piece. Like, say what you will now about Lucci, but Lucci back in Enies Lobby was fearsome. His backstory made perfect sense. He was a perfect foil to Luffy. Like all of CP9, all of the fights were great. They were all really well executed. Chopper in Enies Lobby. I mean, like the introduction of like Frankie and like his fighting and like having him kind of like be with the Straw Hats a little bit. And I think also like with the Usopp stuff, I think that we got a lot of like deliverance with what he was feeling, what he wanted to do. And I think that the setup of Enies Lobby was just perfection. What's up?
Usopp wasn't in Enies Lobby.
Yeah, he was in Enies
okay.
Lobby.
Yeah. Fritz, hit me with the Fukuro laugh, my man. Hit me with it.
No.
Yeah. Give me the
I like that. So there are some laughs that really
it's all about
me.
Yoyori. That's my dude. I love Kumadori, but
Kumadori's the bomb.
No, yeah, honestly though, the moment like when you were mentioning Chopper, like it gave me like a little bit of a flashback when I was like just binging through One Piece and I was like tearing through. I was full speed ahead at Enies Lobby. I was so hype, so gassed. One of my favorite stretches of the entire series. It was just I watched like 100 episodes in like less than 4 days. I was like peeling through shit at this point in time. Pardon my French, but I got to the point where Chopper went Monster Point and my stomach turned. I was like legitimately so worried. I was like, what am I watching? Like, what is happening right now? It was like a really, really crazy moment. And I mean, obviously, like, I Want to Live hits so hard. And like, Sniper King burned down that flag. And like, there's so many great moments. But specifically, the moment,
L's, bro.
the moment where, okay, calm down. But the moment where Chopper like went Monster Point and like, you see the dread in what was it, Kumadori? Like and we have no idea what's going on. If our little man is coming back from this, or like what's gonna happen, and like I don't know. It was so crazy. That was one of my most like fear. Like I was like frightful. I guess like I had no idea what was going on. There were so many other moments where it was tense and things like that, but I always had hope. But in that moment, I had no idea what was about to happen to Chopper.
Oh, tell me about it. I think when I hit Enies Lobby, because I was going at a pace with my first watch through, where I was hitting like 8 to 12 episodes a day. But when I hit Enies Lobby, there was a day where I didn't even sleep before work. I watched it the whole day at work and got in trouble for being on my phone. Like, I could not stop. And like, Chestnut, right when you said the Chopper thing, full body goosebumps just thinking of him towering over Kumadori. Like,
bro,
so
sacrificed
good.
financial stability to watch this. All right, like.
Yes, I did.
I mean, it's just there's just so many good emotional moments too. Like I've heard people say like, oh, like obviously Water 7 leads into Enies Lobby, so it's like both of them I kind of consider as the same arc. But a lot of people still say like, oh, well, Water 7 was the emotions and Enies Lobby is the fights, and it's like I feel like there's just so much that's just delivered on like emotionally wise, like with the emotions, with the character interactions. Like I think that the scene that made me such a hardcore One Piece fan was watching all of them get up to the rooftop, and they're all on there, and they're all there, and Robin is just like staring, and it was all right after the Frankie speech where Frankie's like, it's a like you need to do what you want. Like, it's like you have people here who love you. And it was like watching Robin like go through this emotional turmoil, realizing like people care and love me. And the only person that's holding me back from enjoying it is myself. And it's this beautiful self-acceptance scenes where it's like the people who care the most about her are willing to go to war with the entire world to just see her smile and live her dreams. That scene is one of the best scenes in all of anime. And I've seen so many anime, it doesn't even come close. Like the emotional moment with that self-acceptance and like all of them just like standing up there is something that you could just never, like I've never seen anybody recreate a moment as perfect as that, as perfect as the I Want to Live moment. The build-up, the execution, the pacing, the writing, even in the anime, the music, the animation, the soundtrack, everything.
Yes. Agreed 100%.
I agree. Just for one thing, that was the second most beautiful scene. The first beautiful scene is when Luffy punches in Carlos. Let's not forget, that's the most beautiful scene in One Piece.
But Enies Lobby, and especially the I Want to Live scene, is so iconic that my brother's husband just watched the One Piece live action. I've been trying to get him to watch One Piece forever. and he wouldn't. And once he watched live action, he's like, I asked him who his favorite character was, and he was like Luffy. His way to like get people to talk to him and like make friends, and the way he takes control of situations.
He's
and he was thinking about watching
it.
Exactly, man. And he was thinking about watching the anime, and he doesn't really care for spoilers or anything. And he's like, I just don't know because it's so goofy and stuff. And I said, let me show you one scene from the anime. And I showed him I Want to Live, and like the whole, bring it on and everything where they shoot down the flag. And he cried and didn't even know the context of it. And he's like, she really wants to go to sea with him. Like, I could tell her resolve. And I'm like, yes, I told you.
Hundreds of episodes in for him.
I mean, he told me, he's like, yeah, show me one scene and just sell me on it completely. Because he wanted to see if the characters were like similar. I was like, I know the perfect scene to sell anyone on One Piece. And it's, so good. So good.
It's
And
fantastic.
no, I think I love Enies Lobby. There's only one thing that obviously I think I will remind everyone is that Enies Lobby is goated. Don't forget of the crimes that Akainu committed in Ohara. Just remember, everyone, that he shouldn't be off the hook. No, I'm reminding because people always like to defend Akainu. I said it wasn't part of his job. That boat was not part of. It was not a target. Dude did that on his own free will. He needs a place in level 6.
He does. He was like, take down that ship. No witnesses. Remember, no Russian.
No.
And wiped out all of the citizens of Ohara.
Yeah, I mean the Robin backstory I also think is just powerful.
Yeah.
Like I think that there's just fantastic writing. Somebody in the chat, Jose, he said the random power-ups. I don't think that they were random. I think that especially if you're looking at the series, like they were due for power-ups, and especially with how hard they've been working. Like Zoro makes sense because he's been training that entire time. Sanji, like having that, it was like it's not like we saw him really training for it, but it makes sense that it's like this is something I've been holding back because we never really seen him go out like all out in a fight. Like he's never really had to go all out in a fight like that. Like especially even like in Skypiea leading up to it, it's always been like oh, I'm about to, I need to use my head more than actually my power. So it makes sense that he was holding something back. And for Luffy, especially with like the build up after the Admiral and stuff, and like how quickly he learns, like being able to use Gear Second, I was like, this is just shave. He realized like
Gear 2, I feel like he immediately modeled after Bellamy, like when he saw the springs, right? Like
it's real similar where it's like I think that everything just like kind of came in together. Like when he saw them move fast, it was like you could like see the gears turning in Luffy and you're like, oh, that's how he did it.
Yeah.
And
I love Luffy's fight IQ, and as far as Zoro cutting loose and like things from Sanji, I think it also makes sense like within the arc. I wouldn't say that they're random power-ups at all. I agree. I totally forgot what I was gonna say.
But you mentioned Usopp being in Enies Lobby, and I'm so confused about that, man.
You need to ask Chopper. He'd be confused too.
Yeah.
That was probably my favorite part of the entire arc, is that it got its own little song. Like
wind carries my name.
The comic relief was
oh my gosh.
But to go with what CHESTNUT said, what about that comment about the power-ups? Like you said, it's very, very logical, and I'll get a reminder about Zoro being able to hear the steel from Mr. One, showing feats of hockey. I'll say this, Diable Jambe, I think that was also the moment where Sanji was aligned with his desire. And I'll say this, I think Diable Jambe was Sanji's first hockey that we could see from Sanji, like a snippet. I think Diable Jambe had something to do with armament. So that's why I feel like, and since it's based off his will, it makes sense that those, at least for Sanji, that power up appeared in Enies Lobby. So yeah, that's why I do feel like it didn't come that out of nowhere, at least for me.
I always thought it was like a little bit of a shout out to like Red Leg Zeph, and then like we see Red Hawk later on, which is like. And like Red Rock and stuff, so I'm just like, it's not like a shout. It's like not too far of like a shout for someone to just be able to move so fast that they catch shit on fire around them, So I mean, like I think it makes sense. We've seen weirder shit in One Piece, like Ramen Kempo. So I mean, I'm totally fine with like Diable Jambe.
Pirate docking 6.
Oh no! Oh god!
That's the scene I needed. I need that to like if they get to throw their bark in the live action. That's the one scene in the whole series I need.
I
to
will
happen.
die happy. I will die happy if we get to Thriller
for
Bark
Frankie to look at Robin and be like, "Why aren't you docking?" And she's just standing there like, "No, never."
Absolutely.
Okay,
So-
Tanuki.
Never ask
So
me
wait,
again.
actually, Lucas, I am because I just had the time because I thought I had a bit more time. I'm gonna jump in with a few science question to
Okay.
keep Chestnut on her toes. Obviously, so I hope you're ready for the first question. Blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
So you know all the members of the Mads. I want you to rank them from smartest to least smartest.
Oh, okay. Excluding Vegapunk or including Vegapunk?
You know what? We're gonna exclude Vegapunk, especially with his title in the world of One Piece.
Okay, perfect.
All
right, this is easy. First one is Caesar, and then it's the rest of the frauds. Okay. I'm listen, and I will take no debate. I think that Caesar is the smartest man next to Vegapunk in the entire world. I think that he is completely underrated in One Piece. The fact that he was able to create an entirely new power system, like he creates like new devil fruits basically. Even though they don't have a good success rate, I think people like completely undervalue like how impressive that is to basically be like he reverse engineered devil fruits. He's not cloning them or he's taking the DNA and like trying to make it so it's like, oh well, he just extracted the DNA and then replicated it. It's like, no, he's literally was like, here's the process of a devil fruit. I'm gonna create my own completely original. Like, yeah, it has some flaws, but he's literally recreating the power system of his world and making new devil fruits. It's crazy. Smile fruits are one of the coolest inventions ever. Point blank, period. I don't think anybody has made anything at that level. Next, I think I'm gonna have to put Judge. Just simply because Judge, even though he's taken the majority of his technology from Vegapunk, he was able to add it to the lineage factor and do it with his kids. He's only been able to do it with his kids, but I mean, you got to put the fraud somewhere. Queen is the biggest fraud. Bro is awful, bro.
Literally.
He's like he literally is he just steals all of his technology from the other scientists. Like, let's be honest, Queen the Plague, like, okay, just say you took all of your poisons from Caesar and just tried to add the thing from Judge, like to make it like a virus. All of the other technology, he's just basically copying Judge to try to improve it, but in the end of the day, is he really improving anything? And then the majority of his stuff he also just stole from Vegapunk. So of all three of them, Caesar's the only actual legitimate scientist that wants to push the edge. The other two are frauds, but Judge is a little bit better than Queen. And then it's just Susie left, right? And Susie's not really a scientist. She's just kind of like a fanboy. So.
Yeah, she was there. Miss Buckingham Stussy.
But she is cool, so I do like Stussy. But unfortunately, she's just like she hasn't shown any science prowess at this point, so I'll put her last.
Yeah, I feel like she's an honorable mention, right?
A footnote.
Maybe. Yeah, well, yeah, no. That Caesar Clown, I do remember how much you valued Caesar Clown.
Well, are you talking about the hard debate?
Oh, of course. It's still vivid in my mind, and this is why I'm happy for your answer, because now that you know that the Neo-Mads are a thing, Judge and Caesar Clown have met up. What do you think they're gonna work on with now that we're with the story in One Piece?
So I think so I think what's very cool is that now that they finally met up, I think that Judge can finally put some of his pitiful knowledge to use into devil fruit technology. Because let's face it, Caesar with his technology, even though he was able to create new devil fruits by isolating certain lineage factors within animals, I think what would be very cool if he took the powers that Judge has and put them into devil fruits. And I think that that's the next thing we're going to see. So all of a sudden we're going to see like what is it, like Niji, Ichiji, like all of the powers that they have put into devil fruits and then given to other people. Like and instead of just having the animalistic devil fruits, it's gonna be like this person is lasers. Like this person
way
has
more
like
polished fruits.
Yeah, it's basically a cloned Paramecia type. They've been
so what I was thinking is something similar, but it would be like a raid suit that they feed a devil fruit to, so that different people could wear that raid suit. Different people could just put on this devil fruit power. Like I think that would be like really, really, really cool.
That's interesting.
But we've only seen like devil fruit objects with Zoans. So I would think it would be really cool if we saw them crack the code for Paramecias with that, and that would be like super interesting to me. Is that they could give like a raid suit, like or maybe perhaps like different parts of raid suits, were if they count as different things, different devil fruits. So it would be like a Voltron situation. I think that would be so cool.
Pirate Docking 6 was foreshadowing. Oh my god.
I think it would be even cooler if they figured out how to do Logias instead of like Vegapunk never figured it out, but Judge and Caesar were able to. I would love that. I would be like,
yeah, that'd be sick.
That would be really cool. I think that Vegapunk has figured it out, but he doesn't want to give that to the government. Like specifically, I think he's holding out like because he like anticipate because Shaka knew. Like Shaka was on the phone with like Dragon before all this happened. Like Vegapunk had to have some contingency plans, and obviously Kuma is probably one of those. But I think the whole like he said that Logias are too difficult, and that he had an issue with resources and things like that, and competent engineers with like multiple parts different throughout the arc and whatnot. I think he can totally do it. He's just holding out. Like if he's not. I don't know. I have so many questions about Vegapunk and his morality, but I really like this is what I'm hoping for him is that he actually does have it cracked and he just hasn't told them yet.
I mean,
yeah, that would make sense too.
It'd be like
because he didn't want to create
another reason would be like it being hard to control. I mean, just giving somebody such power like that and then trying to keep it a secret.
Literally took it from my mouth, I mean. Literally took it from my mouth.
So, Chestnut, hear me out before I go to the next question. As you know, because I've been analyzing the maps, because I did wonder why they get together. So I realized Judge doesn't fit the theme of the other Germa. He's the only one that doesn't wear a raid suit to become physically stronger, but for a weapon. And they now create the Neo Mads. And in the movie Z, the Neo Marines was a fear. They're trying to create their own version of ancient weapons. So I'm wondering as well if Oda might be, and we haven't got any, we don't get that much about ancient weapons. From time to time, they name one. I'm wondering if we might get into ancient weapons through the Neo Mads.
Interesting. So when you think about the technology that Vegapunk is making, hasn't he just been making like ancient weapon technology? Like when you really start looking at it, like all of his technology, like everything he's making is ancient kingdom and ancient weapon. Like even like his warships and his battleships, like these all scream like the way that he makes like the robots in the ocean, right? And they're like, those are the Sea Kings that can be controlled by Poseidon. So it's like he's been like trying to do this for a while. I think especially with like Caesar and Judge, like I think it might be a race to see who does this. I also see like the new Mads joining up with the world government at some point, and I see them creating an alliance because it's like, hey, Vegapunk is gone, but we were always here. If you allow us to continue our research and do this, because that's all Caesar and Judge really care about, right? Is power and money and being able to continue their research. I can definitely see how that would work. So I'm into it. I think that's super possible.
I didn't even think about Vegapunk having a parallel in the final setup for the world government. Like, you came in here and spit the Blackbeard stuff, and I was like, I'm sold. And now you're spitting this stuff about Neo-Mads joining up the world. I'm like, I'm sold. I'm just sold.
Yeah. York joins up with Neo-Mads if she gets out of here, or like what? That would be. I think that would be like a really. Yeah, I think that would be like a pivotal, like, because they're already willing, apparently, the Gorosei are already willing to, like, bring her on board, although I think that's kind of a crock right there. but like, yeah, like, I think that would be maybe the linchpin that would get, because, like, Caesar was fired, like from the world government, not the Marines, but from the world government science divisions because of what happened with Shino Kuni, and then specifically Judge is no longer welcome at Reverie. These are two dudes who are not like maybe people that the world government would directly ally with, but if York were in picture, I think that would make a lot more sense as well. And then it would make her relevant to the point where I don't hate her. So
here's my thing. I always had the theory that Emu is after the events of Egghead, right? Emu is going to step out into the world, and that is the biggest change. Is that Emu's like, there is a king of the world government, and it's me. You know what I mean? It's me. So I always thought that we're gonna see Emu, we're going to see York by her side, and then we're going to see the Gorosei, and we're all just gonna step out, and it's going to be amazing and fantastic.
You know what?
Shout out
I
to Denden Kushi in the chat who gifted the last Arc membership to the Chestnut Tanuki. And shout out to Desnus the Dwarf as well. Goats in the chat.
Desnus, my brother from a German mother. I love you.
It's mine brooder. But no, like that was so crazy that he gifted a membership and like Chestnut immediately caught it. So that was awesome.
Yeah, that is wild.
Yeah. So Chestnut, I love what you're saying because, well, the last time we saw Dr. Hogback, he was with Absalom, and now we know Absalom is dead, and we know Moria's on the Blackbeard's island. I kind of think that Blackbeard has Hogback as a scientist for him now. So the Neomads going to the Marines makes sense. If Vegapunk is coming inside of Luffy, there's three-way, Neomads with Emu, Hogback, and other scientists with Blackbeard, and then the stuff, So that's why I do like the idea of Neomads going to the Marines, or the world government.
I really do like it. Like I think it's super cool. So yeah. That's where my mind is, at least.
Yeah. And if Blackbeard is going after Pacifist or whatever he wants from Egghead, having the guy that made ores would be useful, you know what I mean?
I love the fact that Dr. Hogback could be coming into the story because I think that it would be very interesting with Moria being captured by the Blackbeard pirates to have some sort of connection there. I think that that's a really interesting tie since we know that he's not dead. I wish he died, but obviously, Oda be lying, okay?
Yeah, but I'm always down for more Perona though. So there's that.
Can't wait.
Oh, Perona's peak.
Truest thing you've ever said, Vex. Truest thing you've ever said.
So now, Chestnut, I have a... Okay, do you think that the satellites can be trusted?
Yes, I do. Everybody except for... Who is it? It's Edison, right? Because Pythagoras bit it. Edison is still a little weird to me.
Thank you.
Hello, guy.
I've been saying Edison was the real traitor this whole time.
I think that Edison had been working with York. I don't think that Edison is Edison though. Like I think Edison had been reprogrammed. You know what I mean?
I think he's been like whispering sweet nothings into York's ears, not like in a romantic way, but in a like, hey, let's betray the team. Let's go to the Gorosei. Let's build the Mother Flame. Because I don't think York built the Mother Flame like she said she did. Like she had claimed to, hadn't she?
Yeah, but I don't think she claimed to have built it. But I think she claimed to have access to like the blueprints or whatever. Like she could provide like the. But the thing is like. What if isn't Saturn like supposed to be like the science military god or technology? Yeah, so like if anyone were to be able to override a Vegapunk, like that's the guy, right? Like Saturn is him, right?
Yeah, that is another interesting point. So the way that I see it is that I see that Lilith, who I originally, and like I took a big L on that. Like I originally, that's actually one of the only L's I've took where I was like, I thought that Lilith was like being set up to be like basically that she wasn't the traitor, but that she was like inadvertently helping whoever the traitor was. Because I didn't really see it coming as York. There was a lot of really good setup for it, but I didn't see it coming. I always was like, oh, it's gonna be one of the other ones. But even like when looking at York, it's like, especially when Atlas, Vegapunk, and I think Edison were all working on the machine, right? It's like York was really confident. She's like, oh, you guys won't be able to do it. And it's like, well, it's one Vegapunk versus 3, right? So like, even though it's Vegapunk, you know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't really like be that hard. But like, why is she so confident? And it's because it wasn't 3 Vegapunks versus her. It was 2 versus somebody who was trying to stop them. And who else would be trying to stop them except for Edison? And I was like, oh, and she's like, oh, you broke it that quickly. I have to like not break the thing because it's like if she says anything, they'll start to worry. But I think Edison is another traitor. I think we're gonna see very soon that he's not exactly who he says he is.
So I think all the Vegapunks are sus.
Yeah.
Like honestly, I think literally I can't.
Rest in peace, my boy.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, but I just literally like I don't trust the Stella body, and like there's very few things that like this. I don't know. The thing is like there's a certain way where things can play out where I think I can trust the Stella body, but right now as things are, I don't know. I'm just there's just too much that is
Morally
unknown
gray.
here.
He's like a true neutral. We don't know anything about his intentions. Shout out to 3-Day Trip in the chat who just gave me the picture of Saturn in a raid suit. Thank you for that mental image, 3-Day. I love you so much.
Absolutely.
Have you seen the
Awesome.
you seen the Gorosei in the Sailor Scout outfits? Because it's
Yes, and I've seen them as
Oh.
the Ginyu Force as well.
Bum 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 bum. Sorry, I was having flashbacks. Sailor Moon defeats all anime.
Agreed. She can destroy the universe.
They're literal gods. Get over yourselves.
And I think Chestnut, with the last question on the signed aspect is, what do you think is actually green blood?
Ooh, that's interesting. I mean, like from like an actual science perspective, I was like, oh, it's the blood is probably green because there isn't like any kidneys like filtering out anything, and so like the hemoglobin probably eventually just turns to bile, and that's why it's green. And so Oda is doing this really interesting thing where it's like, well, they're robots because they don't have to filter out the blood, so the blood is just like constantly going through and getting oxygenated and getting taken out, but none of the waste products are really getting taken out, so that's why it's green. Probably not the answer that you wanted, but that's the only thing I can think of because I'm like, oh, well, that's like what bile is. It's just, what is it? Because like it goes from hemoglobin and then it gets oxidized and then it turns into something else and then it turns into like Billy something and then it turns into bilirubin and then it goes from like the thing and it gets all green and gross.
Triglycerides.
That's a good point, though. Yeah, that's a good point, though. Goodness.
Sorry, that's like the big thing because like I remember I looked it up. I was like in my medical textbooks. I'm like, okay, this is how this happens. And so I think I was doing a chapter react and I'm like, oh yeah, this is how that works. And everybody's like, why do you know that? I'm like, I'm sorry, guys.
It's lime Kool-Aid. That's my guess.
Lime Kool-Aid is crazy.
They're all just fueled on Kool-Aid.
I mean,
Not
Frankie's
even lemon
fueled
lime.
on Frankie's fueled on like cola, so I think weirder things can happen. Like, oh my goodness.
I don't know. My
green
blood
Hawaiian
isn't.
punch.
My blood is still red, and I survive on cola too. So.
Okay, so but okay, hear me out. Green blood is just G fuel. Like
Bet. Fritz is immediately bet. He's been trying to get that G fuel.
Tetris G fuel with a base of Mountain Dew. Let's go. All right, that's all.
It's just a Baja, bro. It's just Baja Blast, bro. Vegapunk really solved it. He was like, listen.
he's like, I love Taco Bell. That's why I made that food machine.
He knows.
Yeah, that's why York's only goal is to poop, bro. Because he's like, listen, we just eat way too much Taco Bell.
Yeah, right. He's like, those crunchy $5 burritos.
This is getting off the chain.
No, right, so I had a goofy question that is somewhat science related though, for you, Chestnut. If you were sitting in front of the food machine on Egghead and there wasn't like a full scale siege breaking out, like what's your order? What's your go-to if you have like the little food machine right in front of you?
Oh, this is really interesting because like I would definitely do like the fanciest thing. Like I would get like Wagyu. I would get like I wouldn't want it to be super greasy, so I'd make sure it's like real lean, there's like delicious stuff. Like I would probably get like the most delicious like sauteed vegetables. Like I'd probably get a side of creme brulee. Like you know what I mean? Like I would just be fancy. Like I would be fine dining.
Caviar, finally.
Some like palm souffle, like just go for like all the fancy like top shelf stuff. Yeah. Do you think that the Vegapunk stuff, the computer generated meals would be anything compared to the real deal?
I mean, like, to be fair, like, in our own world right now, we're learning how to, like, take, like, cow cells and, like, replicate them into burgers. I mean, it's not, like, necessarily, like a sound science, but I think that eventually we're going to be able to take, like, vegetables, right? And we're going to be able to, like, hone in, like, their genetic code so that, like, during famine, like, or during, like, let's say, like, a disease ravages all of the broccoli, right? There's no broccoli. Well, we could just like literally like take it and then just grow it in a lab like faster and better, because that's technically what we do already. We just like take like broccoli and we just like keep it in a laboratory and we see which one grows the fastest, and then we take that one, which one tastes the best, that one, and then we just breed them together. So I feel like it would probably taste basically the same as long as it's the same like format. Like I don't see why it'd be different.
Yeah, that's kind of like on the more bio side of it, but there's also like there's also food science technologies, like as far as the taste, like the sensory side of it, where they're able to put like this little four-pronged electro device and send certain pulses to certain parts of your tongues with certain different like electronic like frequencies, and replicate basically any taste you can imagine like on the human taste spectrum. And they haven't gotten it completely solved yet, but I think Vegapunk could do that. Like, so it could just be like when you're chewing on this physical light, it's sending these pulses to certain parts of your tongue and making you taste maybe things that we can't even accomplish with like normal human preparations of like, culinary dishes.
Ooh, that could be really cool. Like having like really like interesting flavor combinations that like you just can't get right like IRL, but like if you're able to perfectly craft it, like that would actually be really cool. I love that.
So I sadly will have to leave the stream now. As the One Piece community knows, they call me Big Dad for a reason. I have way too many kids, and those kids need to get to bed. So, but before I go, I have one last very, very silly question for Miss Tanuki here.
All right.
And the question is this. If you, Chestnut, and Hime were raced for the One Piece, who would win? Who would get to the One Piece first? And if you guys do not know, Chestnut has an amazing podcast with Hime, and they react to all the One Piece episodes and everything. So, Tanuki, who's winning?
I'll be honest. I love Hime. I think that Hime is my actual IRL best friend. Like we are besties. We hang out all the time. She is my other half. Unfortunately, if me and Hime were ever competing in anything, I would beat her in whatever way possible. You would see me go full Blackbeard. Unfortunately, it would not be close. I've already told Hime. I'm like, listen, bro. Like, just know, just know if I was ever in there. Like I would be full out Blackbeard, bro. Like Hime would getting something, she'd get a poneglyph, and I'd be like, okay, Thatch.
Okay, Thatch. Nuki over here.
Commodore Nuki.
Savage and ruthless. My goodness.
So Vex, I'm gonna hand you control of hosting the stream, my man. And for everybody in the chat, I love you so much. To my crewmates, you guys suck. No, I love all of you. I love all of you guys.
I'll be seeing
Tanuki,
you, Straw Hat. You better be here.
Yes. I will, for News Q, which will be back next week with the new chapter. All of us will be there. Smokey is no longer ever going to take control again. No, that was an amazing episode. Tanuki, thank you so much for being here. It has been a joy, and everyone have a wonderful stream.
It's an honor. Lucas, thank you so much. You take it easy. Have a good one with the kiddos.
Thank you.
Yeah. Massive shout out to the News Q team, by the way, through Lucas moving this past week for Smokey still pumping out. Just an absolutely goated episode. It was it's wonderful. Go check that out on the Last Arc Theory channel if you have not already. Go like and subscribe over there. And we've got some more interesting streams talking about collabs coming up this next week with Dak, and then we've also got a stream with Hime planned very shortly as well. So stay tuned for more wonderful things to come from the Last Arc. Make sure you also check out the Chestnut Tanuki on all social media. Pretty much, right? You said you. Yeah. I know I've seen you on YouTube and TikTok. I'm not a Facebook kind of guy, but you said you're on there and Instagram.
It's a rough market.
Kind of. Facebook, I just literally cannot figure out how to upload. I'll be totally honest. I think I'm too young for Facebook. Like, I just don't understand it. But like Instagram, I'm super active. I am on Twitter. My Twitter is just a cesspool, though. I do not recommend following me on that at all. Actually, in fact, just erase that from your memory. I don't have a Twitter.
Yeah, I'm not into Twitter that much. I do most of my socializing on YouTube and Discord and whatnot. But yeah, if you guys wanted to also make sure to check in the description, join the Last Arc Discord. We've got a theory channel there where we're always cooking new stuff with interesting guests. Like we've had Ghost Train in there all week. Somebody we had on stream earlier in this week. It's always a blast in the Discord. Make sure you go check that out as well. Yeah, we're super stoked to have you join us. I think we've been trying to kind of organize this for a minute, but it's just been so much going on with all of our lives and whatnot. We're super happy to finally get this stream to happen.
Shout out to Q for reaching out and getting some major stuff done. Things moving.
And hey, shout out to you, Fritz, for hosting for us. All of this.
For the goat, Fritz. As always, Fritz is always a goat. That's my number one rule on our streaming.
Just because I have a
goat,
beard of a goat doesn't mean you can call me the goat. All right.
Oh my goodness. But I did have one more science-related question, if we still had you for a little bit, Chestnut.
All right.
I was wondering, as far as real-life applications, if you could pick just one of Vegapunk's inventions, what do you think would have the greatest impact in our world?
Ooh,
just one invention.
The invention where you can take off your limbs and replace them.
Sweet.
I would do that 5 sure. Like you could do like that for like any part of your body. You know, especially because like so a lot of people, well, actually you guys may not know. So I actually do work in medicine. I work in the general surgery department, and so like when I go see my patients, it is like, especially when they have to like get stuff taken out of their body, or it's like, especially when you need to have like make colostomy bags or like colon resections, or people are like having like their legs, like I had like a patient, and it's like, you know, they had to have like their leg cut off and amputated, and it's like, just imagine if we could just take it off and put a new one back on, or you're all of a sudden you have like a diverticulitis and you have this huge abscess and a perforated and you have to cut out your bowels, and instead of like having a colostomy where you're pooping out of a bag, you just put new ones in. Like, you know what I mean? Like it would literally be like game changing and life saving, and I would just love it. Like it would not only help me because I could just be like, oh yeah, let's just like go replace this part, but it would just like save lives and make people's lives so much better. So that's probably be the one I choose.
Oh, that's a super good answer. I was thinking like the flour gunpowder thing. Like I don't know, like, but that's like a way better answer than what I was gonna say.
No, that one's cute too. I love that one.
So listen, I like your answer, Chestnut, but I'm really scared that in our world it could be a thing that one day there's a guy that disappears and you found out that his body part just disappeared. Someone took his body parts for himself. That's the one thing I'm scared, is how far people are willing to do it, you know, to get those.
It's like a repo man, like, but like
you didn't pay this month.
It's like everyone's just like made of Legos. Like you could just go and like just like steal someone's leg right from underneath them or something.
It's like Altered Carbon. They come and take your sleeve.
See, I feel like it would definitely be like biosynced to your body, so it's like nobody else could use it. It's only you, so it'd be like meaningless to have it. It's like, oh well, I can't use this arm anyways. It's biosynced, like it's meaningless.
This is getting like really Ghost in the Shell. Yeah, this is getting like really Ghost in the Shell kind of like.
I mean, yeah, that's literally what it is. It's Ghost in the Shell. Oh my god.
I mean. But no, I think that would be like really interesting from the medical standpoint, because yeah, like especially like here in America, that like a lot of those procedures are like ridiculously expensive and life-threatening sometimes and whatnot, and just being able to kind of like nip that in the bud, that would be ridiculously game-changing from the medical standpoint. So yeah, that's like a super great answer. Trying to think of like any other like really cool like Vegapunk inventions that aren't like super like One Piece levels of goofy, you know, that would be really game changing in the real world.
I think I know one. The gloves that lets you touch light, manipulate light. That would be interesting.
Cool. I feel like it'd be used in horrible ways, but I think it'd be really cool for like light shows or like entertainment purposes.
Yeah.
Just general war crimes, you know.
Or just like if you if the sun's coming up and like there's like that little tiny like ray coming through your window and you're like, nah, F that, 5 more minutes, and you just like bend that shit like like
you just like look at the sun and you're like, not today.
right, like
oh, that would be crazy. I'd love that.
And it's like no, that it is true. There's some obviously there's some interesting inventions. Obviously, this is my go-to thing. You could have everything in the world of One Piece except Kaido's fruit. In the real world, you have Kaido's fruit, you're a wanted man. The moment you show your power, you're way too dangerous.
Kaido's would be crazy.
So we talked a lot about One Piece. I'm gonna hit you with a question. Besides One Piece, what would be your top 3 animes, or even up to top 5 animes you'd either like to discuss or do content about? Because I was doing some peeking around because I don't really always know everybody that comes on here. I last minute try to check out some of their stuff. But definitely through you and your friend Subs, be checking that out in the future. But what would be your top 3, even up to top 5? Other animes for content or just general conversation.
All right, so I guess I'll do like 3 that I do like primarily I do content on. So I do content on like a lot of shonen. So I'll do like I'm starting to get into like Jujutsu Kaisen. I do Boruto content just because I read it. So I like to throw that out there. I mean, to be fair, it's not the worst. But I do, it's just something that I do. I used to do Black Clover content when the chapters were dropping. I still occasionally do some stuff. Like if AOT does something, I'll do it. So basically, if there's like a popular shonen that's coming out, like I like to talk about it, give my opinions, do a couple like analysis portions. But my favorite animes, other than One Piece, Miss Kobayashi's Dragon Maid is like something that I love that I feel like nobody's watched.
Go.
It is, it's fantastic. I'm a huge Fate fan. I love Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night. I think that it's amazing. And then I guess like Sailor Moon. I've only talked like very briefly about Sailor Moon on my page, but like I'm a big Sailor Moon fan. I love it. I've watched it like 7 times.
Love Sailor Moon.
Amazing.
I mean, I get so like caught up. I just like the rhythm. It's like forever stuck in my head. I could go forever without hearing it or seeing it, but I was like dun 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 dun. Like I'm about to have a stroke, and like all I hear is Sailor Moon music. Like okay.
It's so iconic.
It is.
Oh.
So it was like literally over here was like one of the few first animes like a lot of us really got to like receive. It was either you watched Goku, Dragon Ball Z, or you watched Sailor Moon, or you watched both because they were back to back, when they were on television. So like, I mean, you watched one and then the other.
Yeah. Or like Pokemon and Digimon were like the same kind of era.
And it's either you liked one way more than the other, and Digimon, regardless, like not everybody's all about Digimon, but it had way more going on in its story. Like for diversity, like there was real shit on the line.
I'll be honest, I only watched Pokemon. I never watched Digimon. I was always like it was like Diamond and Pearl was on, and I was like, yo, that's me.
So Diamond and Pearl was cut completely different from the rest of the Pokemon stuff. That's when it really started to get good, in my opinion. But Digimon was, and I know Cube is about to spit passionately, but like Digimon, the third series, Digimon Tamers, is peak. It's absolute greatness, and I think everyone should watch it.
Yeah, basically Vex knows that. He's been my mentor while basically I've I lived part of my life until 12 years old in America. Then I came to Belgium, Europe, where basically I was behind in any content, Japanese or American, of at least 7 years. So I never was able to finish a lot of animes, and so I've been watching like the 3 first generation of Digimon, and honestly, just in terms of world building, it's 100 times better than anything that Pokemon anime has ever done. It's really like well thought of. It like there is, I'll say this, the first like adventure, the first 10 episodes, you see they're trying to get their footing, but there is something about the world building that's really, and you could honestly, I feel like Digimon, if they redid, now that they're redoing a bit like the original one, but I do feel like it had a lot of work that I think is much better than Pokemon. I really liked it.
I think
I watched everything in 1 month, right? Vex, I watched everything I think in 1 month.
Yeah, dude binged through like a whole bunch of the Digimon stuff, and like Digimon Adventures and Digimon Adventures 02 are pretty cool. They didn't age the greatest, but Digimon Tamers, the third series, is peak. I put it on top shelf still to this day. It's so good.
And I would say another one that was big, like before we had Sword Art Online, we had Dot Hack Sign, which back in its day was huge.
I played all the video games
Exactly. They even had major
Mutation,
video games
Quarantine, and then like all the GU games were like, dude, the GU games. I spent hundreds of hours on those video games. It was sick.
Like that's the direct reason why Sword Art like was so well received, because there were already like stepping stones for that genre. So
I mean, it was also just. I think I'm too young.
Dot Hack Sign. So the original was Dot Hack Sign, and then there was also Dot Hack Legend of the Twilight, and then they had another spinoff, and then those had video game series, and then there was an anime series based off of the video game series that was completely different from the video game or from the anime series, and you could only watch it if you bought the video games because there was a little bonus disc that came with them, and like, dude, it was so dense, like the lore, and like it was basically like an MMO, like, but it was like a pre-programmed like story, but it was like meant to like emulate like like a full open world MMO. So it was just like hundreds and hundreds of hours. We're talking like a 7-part game series, and each of them was like on par with like the single-digit Final Fantasies, with just like hundreds of hours worth of content and all of this missable stuff, and like just really intricate interwoven lore and secret bosses and stuff. It was some of the best
I awoke
RPG
a core memory for him just now.
Bro, this sounds like Danganronpa. Am I bad to say this sounds like Danganronpa?
I don't know too much about Danganronpa, but
it's like the video games hold like massive amounts of lore, and there's like all of these different things, and then it was turned into an anime, but the anime only adapted like 3 specific things from it. I shouldn't even be admitting I'm a Danganronpa fan. The fandom is awful.
Oh my goodness.
I really never heard of it. But man, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I'm having the effect of everything you just said actually with the science stuff. My brain is working delay. Sorry.
But okay, so I had another question for you. If you had to pick one other genre outside of shonen to be all in on, like every egg in that basket, which genre are you picking?
That's tough. I guess seinen, for content wise, just because the analysis that I do would be very hard to do with another genre. Like you could do it with shoujo, but I feel like it would get kind of repetitive because a lot of them have very similar archetypes. In comedy, like there's not very much analysis usually with comedies that you could do. I mean, like in Tama, I guess like I could do like a ton of content on. I mean, it's almost as big as One Piece with like, you know, everything with it. But I feel like after a while, it'd be kind of just me showing scenes. So like seinen, especially if I'm taking things like, you know, like Berserk into account and like Monster, it's like I could do like the same analysis I'm doing and probably reach basically the same audience. So I'll do that one.
Absolutely.
Nice. Oh. Yeah, I was like I don't know, like for me, I was only into anime for fight scenes when I was like younger, and I didn't really start getting into understanding what like a full character arc and like you know, development and like full like plot arcs and things like that were supposed to be about and whatnot. Like I was just like, you know, guy punch thing hard, really cool. Like like he yells really loud. Like, you know, like that's like the main thing I was hyped for. And then I just started getting into more like comedies and slice of lives and like stuff like that, and other genres. I was never into like sports anime or like mecha or anything like that either. And I've recently started to watch a lot more. But I was just I don't know, everything seems to pale in comparison to One Piece for me, but I've just been trying to get like more into different types of anime content as well.
Honestly, like there are some really good like sports ones. Like I was watching Diamond No Ace, and that one's like a baseball one. That one is like really fun. Obviously, like I feel like when Blue Lock came out, it was like super big. But there's just like some, I mean, like especially like One Piece is just so massive and it just covers so many like genres and topics and stuff that it's like it's hard to compete. But like I always find like, especially with like little ones, like I love watching like little 12 episode anime series and like seeing like I love like isekais. Like isekai genre you could probably do a ton of content on. And like
Oh yeah.
Like there's just so
There's like
many.
12 garbage isekai and like 1 or 2 really good ones like every season now. Like,
yeah, that time I got reincarnated as a refrigerator. Like, who is asking for this?
wait,
Let's
okay,
go.
the vending machine one is supposed to be really solid from what I've heard, actually.
Reincarnated as a slime. Let's go.
Slime is great.
Yeah. Vending machine goes crazy.
Overlord is freaking peak, and I love it. I love Overlord. Don't even.
Overlord.
No, I go way back. Like I mean like Log Horizon and SAO and like No Game No Life and stuff like that. Like Konosuba, ReZero. There's a ton of good isekai. They're not all coming out now. Like,
Konosuba should be getting a 3rd season soon. When that drops, I'm gonna be a different person.
Oh man, so like the movie was really solid. I haven't read any further from that because that was like a canon like arc actually. I haven't read any further than that, but yeah, I was super hyped for Konosuba like 6 years ago, and this is blowing my mind that I'm hearing this right now.
It is, yeah. It was already confirmed. They did the Megami spin-off recently, and then hopefully we'll get some anime news in the next coming couple months.
Okay, so who's your best girl in Konosuba then?
Darkness for sure, bro. When she went on her rant about the type of guy that she likes, and it just gets worse and worse. Like you never like you think that you're like, okay, this is the worst that Darkness can get. No. She just keeps going. You're like, no.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so of all of the isekai worlds, if you had to pick one to get isekai'd into, it specifically has to be an isekai world. Like, so One Piece isn't an isekai anime, so you can't pick the One Piece world. Like, but if you had to pick one, which one would you go for?
Ooh, this one's a little tough. I mean, like, it depends if I could choose, because, like, I mean, like slime, like, you could get, like, some sick moves. You know what I mean? Like, you get, like, if you get reincarnated in the slime world, like, that would be great. I would hate to be an overlord, because, like, I feel like you would just get murked.
Yeah,
like,
you're gonna die no matter what in there.
Yeah,
that would be the worst. If you're within 50 kilometers of where this war site is happening, sucks.
Yeah,
he takes off a ring and the pressure kills you and everyone.
For you. Like what about like No Game No Life? Like that's, I mean, like as long as you can hang, like if you can game, like I think that's like a pretty that could be like one of the more inconsequential ones potentially, right?
Or the new one, what is it called? Shadow and Eminence. Like that one is pretty okay.
Or Eminence and Shadow. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of it. I've seen like honestly, I gave it like the 3-episode test, and then I never got past that. Like,
it's pretty funny. Like it's like a parody dissection. It is just hilarious. There is this one scene, and it is like, it's so ridiculous. You're like, no way he's actually parrying it like that. And it's like, it's so funny to me. I just die. I just love it. Like, it's just so funny. But I love comedies. I think that comedy, like, I wish there were more like actual comedy animes. Like, what is it? Like Asobe Ayase. Like that one, that anime is hilarious. Like, it's so good. Oh, nobody knows.
I like anime that are like I don't like, for me, like my one of my favorites is Steins Gate, and it's not a comedy, but there are some really 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 funny moments in it. But it's absolutely not a comedy. But when you can kind of like touch on some of the best parts of different genres and come out with this, like, something like how we were saying, One Piece just touches on so many different concepts and genres that it's hard to even like really pin it down.
Yeah. Honestly, like One Piece just has everything, bro. Like if you like any genre, you'd like One Piece, honestly. It's so good.
It'd be so hard to suggest to somebody that to be their first anime though, at the same time. Because they would either like, it's either they're gonna take a full bite out of it, or they're gonna be like, what the hell is this? Never try anime again, like.
Well, I
start everybody off on My Hero. My Hero's such a good starter anime.
My Hero's
so good as a starter.
My brother started me like I grew up watching like stuff like Full Metal and like like Trigun and like just old school Adult Swim and Toonami stuff, and I was pretty casual into it, but I didn't like really get into anime until my brother was like, here, watch this, and I started
Outlaw
watching like
Star.
well, so that was actually the first thing I ever finished weekly. But that was like while I was still kind of like a filthy casual, but I didn't start like really diving in until my brother started showing me like Log Horizon and SAO. And then like he showed me SAO because he's like, yeah, check out these first 13 episodes. I was like, this is amazing. And then I watched like season 2. I was like, what happened? And and then he showed me like Log Horizon. I'm like, okay, this is really good too. And then I saw season 2, and I'm just like, what happened? And he was just like, so yeah, like this is how I wanted to get you into anime, so you could see like kind of like what's really well done about certain animes and what's really poorly done, so you can figure out what kind of person you are, what kind of anime you're gonna like. And I was like, you put a lot of thought into this.
I think. Damn, wait.
Hey.
Well, my go-to is very easy. You just put people to Death Note. 37
Death Note is good.
episodes. And then they like the whole concept. It's not too crazy. Then you put them into a bit more edgy. But I do feel like some people, when they get into anime, when they've never seen anime, they don't get the trope at all. Shonen or any other styles, the Japanese culture, Asian culture in terms of, entertainment is somewhat weird, like the depravity. I would say that the weird thing is the whole depraved lore in anime that's sometimes a bit too much for the Western side.
It can be.
Just remember,
I don't know.
Mineta,
I mean, my
Hisoka,
kids love Death Note,
they're a prime
and that might
example.
sound like a strange thing, but they're young
It's
and
good.
they love Death Note. They love One Piece, and they have seen all of Seven Deadly Sins. Like,
Seven Deadly Sins isn't a bad one for starters. Like
no.
for me now, like I'd be like, all right, let's watch Hunter x Hunter. That's gonna be the first thing you watch. Like, but like for me, like back in the day, it would have been like something like Seven Deadly Sins probably.
I mean,
Or
I
like
never watched it
Fullmetal
until I watched
Alchemist.
it with my kids. Like, they got me into it.
I
Fullmetal
think
Alchemist is heavy. Like for a first anime, I
it's
mean, I
good
saw it when
though.
I was very young. Yeah, I saw it when I was very young, and honestly, I didn't remember as much of it as I should. Like the first time I watched it, I was like literally like I think I was like 11 years old. Like there's not as much of it that I remembered as like I should have. And then I watched Brotherhood when it came out as well, and I was a little bit older. And then I've rewatched it a whole bunch since, and I love it. But as a kid, some of it just kind of like flew over my head, I guess, like when I was younger.
The country of a
There's
mistress.
it's pretty. It's honestly like it's still so good. There's just so many good animes.
I think I've
Like
rewatched Full Metal probably more than any other in its entirety.
It's
Like,
all about bo 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 bo.
my dad
You
loves
guys ever
that.
see that show? With the guy with like the
My dad
afro, and
loved
he
that
like fights with
shit.
his
oh my
nose hairs.
god.
My dad loved that shit.
Oh my god, that was peak. That was when I first got into One Piece. Was like when it was like Dragon Ball GT was airing on Toonami, and then there was like Bobo 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 and Zatch Bell and like
Zatch
Justice League
Bell.
and
Okay.
Batman.
Yeah, these are childhood memories right here, for real.
And then yeah,
Oh my god.
Naruto and One Piece. That was the whole lineup. I used to like tell my mom like like no, I don't want to go to bed right now. Like I'm watching One Piece, and I wasn't even really into it because it was the 4 Kids dub.
I never
I mean,
saw. I only saw like Naruto on Cartoon Network. I'll be honest. I wasn't like really into like One Piece until because I like watched Naruto when I was a kid and I was like into it. I really liked it and I was like a big Naruto fan. And then COVID hit and it was only during COVID that I started One Piece and I was like, all right, I'll just start it for fun. Like there's
Yeah,
nothing else to do.
I actually only started right before. Like I watched the 4 Kids dub a long time ago, but I was like I never got like all the way through Alabasta. So I never even saw like Jaya or anything like that, like because they didn't actually do that with 4 Kids dub. That's when Funimation like took over after like a hiatus or whatever. So I never got like super far into One Piece back in the day, and it was like literally like 2019, like right before October hit, was was when I started like getting into One Piece, and then the shutdown happened. I was like, well, it looks like I'm gonna finish it. Like,
yeah, I was able to finish it in like 3 months. Like
same.
Toad like caught up, but in 1 month I got up to Wano. So I caught up to Wano in 1 month, and then I took a break because I was like, all right, I did this way too fast. I need to like.
It's
sit
like the
back.
same thing I did.
Need to
Yeah.
go back.
Yeah, and then
I'm not
I just
everything.
like then I periodically like went through Wano just like real slowly because also by that time there wasn't like as many episodes. Like Wano had just started, and if you remember, they took like that break. So the anime wasn't actually going, so they had taken that little break during COVID, and I was like, okay, perfect. Like I'm gonna take a little break too, and then I'll catch up. But I'd caught up to Wano in 1 month. I was disgusting. I was like, what am I doing with my life?
No, for real. I remember like missing meals because I was like, no, I need to finish this fight in one piece. And it was like 5 episodes later and the fight was still going, and I was like, this is fine. Like,
I feel like I've been lazy at it then. Shit. Like you're making my binge days like look like nothing where I watch like 50 to 100 episodes in 2 to 4 days. Like
well,
no.
I mean, I don't have little ones, so I mean, it was a lot easier for me. I had a dog, and like my dog's been watching One Piece since the day she was born. Like literally, as soon as she was born, I was the first thing because my roommate's dogs had puppies,
Does
so I
your
was the
dog
first
watch
thing she
TV?
saw in this world. Then we immediately got her cleaned up and went and sat down and watched some One Piece.
Does your dog watch TV with you?
Yeah, she
I
loves
wish
One
my
Piece.
dogs would watch TV. They won't even look at it.
She loves One Piece and Doctor Who. That's 2 things that she'll never like bother me while I'm watching One Piece or Doctor Who.
Well, it has been
for me,
great.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I was good.
We can
gonna
definitely call it. I feel Cube is about to fall asleep. It's like what? It's like past midnight for you. It's like 1 a.m. or something.
Dude, don't worry. With my with my leg,
Sacrifices.
I basically slept from 3 p.m. to 8 p.m. So don't worry. It's 3
Oh my god.
3 in the afternoon. Yeah. Like I said, my sleep schedule is all over the place.
Poor Cube. Cube, go bed, bud. Go to bed, my friend.
Yeah, we appreciate you doing that for us, and we appreciate Fritz you streaming for us, and Chestnut you showing up for some wonderful discussion.
Thank
It
you
has
so
been great, but I'll go ahead and do some outros. Definitely make sure to go check out Chestnut Tanuki on all social platforms. We've pinned her YouTube specifically in this chat. Make sure you like the stream. Check out the TLA Discord and the TLA Theory channel as well. Cube and I are actually cooking something up very shortly. And then check out Fritz the Dits live on twitch.tv. Anything else anyone wants to plug, feel free. My dog is going berserk right now.
Just want to thank Tanuki for coming by. Had awesome conversation. Really descriptive. Definitely got me hooked. I'm gonna be checking out all the videos. I'm gonna be seeing what's up. So, thank you for being on.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me. I had a lot of fun. This was awesome.
No, it's likewise, Chestnut. Like as you know, it's a shame because I'll tell you this, we'll for sure do another stream so we can have also Den here. But no, it was a great one. It's fun to talk to you, and I always like to pivot you on the science part because I always learn. Simple as that. I always learn, and the passion that you bring with it is, like I said, there's 2 Tanuki. The first one is chill, and then when you get into the mad science, that's the pace is different. The confidence is level Blackbeard and Luffy, Conquer level, So no, it's just fun. Honestly, appreciate you for showing up.
You're too sweet. Thank you, Cube. I really appreciate it, bud. Anytime, for real. Like I enjoy these. Like this was hella fun.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and also a little reminder, Fritz, as Shessa does know that, but it's a bit of our secret every time he's catching up to One Piece. He's at Dressrosa, so I hope that you wiped your memory from the stream.
Oh, it's good. I've been spoiled so much. It's like looking into a future of nothing but
Dude
war.
knows more about Egghead than Dressrosa right now.
Honestly, I do. Like, it's sad.
Oh my god.
I know more about the late game from the last like 3 months than where I'm at right now. So
we'll do a Fritz catch up watch party or something soon whenever you got some time, brother. Because trust me, Dressrosa, like I think you're gonna love it. But we're gonna go ahead and call it a wrap there. Thank you, everybody who has stuck around this long. And again, thank you so much, the CHESTNUT Tanuki, for joining us today. You've all been wonderful, and have a great rest of your day. And make sure to like the stream.
Peace, peace. Bye, everybody.
Woo!
Bye, everyone. Appreciate it.
Party time forever.
And that's it.